Hi, it's Elliot from Little Punk People here, and we're interviewing Buzz Osborne. And yeah, let's do this.
Yes.
How has your solo tour been going?
Oh, so far so good. I'm out here by myself, standing on stage with just an acoustic guitar and nothing else to protect myself. So, and no drums to hide behind this time. So, I'm used to having a lot of drummers with me.
Yeah, sing 2 or more.
2 or more? At least 2.
Yeah, at least 2. You have a really cool singing voice. Who are some of your favorite singers?
Singers. I would say one of my favorite singers is Tom Waits and also Captain Beefheart. Both of them I think are really good singers. I like HR from the Bad Brains. I think he's a great singer. I think Judy Garland's a great singer. I thought Jimi Hendrix was an amazing singer. And I think Jimi Hendrix had everything. If you haven't listened to Hendrix, you should. He's one of my all-time favorites. He had everything. He died at an early age, and it's too bad. Right before he did a Miles Davis record, which, I really wish I could have heard that record. But that's what happens with drugs,
Some of my favorite singers are like Freddie Mercury, you,
Thank you.
A lot
Freddie Mercury
more.
and me. That's the first time that's ever happened.
How do you like Henry Rollins' radio show that you were on? Was it fun?
Oh, yeah. I'd never met Henry before, believe it or not. I'm not really good at networking. I'm not good at going and meeting people and going to parties and stuff like that. I'm not the guy that does that kind of stuff. I hate that. So when he invited me on there, I'd never met him after all these years, and he was very nice, But I did ask him for a reading list, and I'm still waiting, Henry.
We love your wife's artwork. Does the music come first, or does the artwork inspire the music?
Well, sometimes art can inspire music. I'm certainly inspired by artists. There's no question of that. And me and my wife have been married 21 years, and so we've worked together for that entire time artistically. And so it's a really good partnership as far as that's concerned. I believe in letting professionals do their work. She doesn't talk to me about what I should do with my music, and I don't talk to her about what she should do with her art. Even if I have a suggestion, like, I think this would be a really good record cover, then I sit back and let her do it because she's the designer, and she'll show me how it should look, I always think it's a good idea to let people do their work. If you hire somebody to paint your house, let them paint it,
If you had to be the principal for a week at your old school when you were a kid, what would you do?
If I had to be the principal, I think the first thing I would do is dismantle all organized sports in the school. Little League has survived without being part of the school. I think it should be completely separate, education and sports, The next thing I would do is tell them that no more homework. If the teachers can't get it done in 6 hours, then I don't see any reason why we should send the kids home. Because when they get home, that should be the time they should spend with their parents. I think homework is BS, And you know what that means.
Yes, I do. How important is it to have a great sense of humor?
Well, I think if you take one look at me, I better have a good sense of humor, Also, I play in a band called the MELVINS, and that was intentional, that we wanted to not have a name that was, would pigeonhole us in any way. Sort of like the Ramones. You don't know what you're getting, It's pretty much a ripoff of the Ramones, how they think about it. Actually, I thought of that before, but let's pretend like I did, and I just realized that. I just realized it. Wait a minute. We've tried to have a weird juxtaposition between the art and the music, and so that the weirdest thing about us is how we sound.
What would you do if you were abducted by aliens and asked you to play a show on their planet?
Well, if they abducted me, it'd be kidnapping, so I'd pretty much have to, I'd figure it was at gunpoint, and I would do whatever they said. How can you deny them? If they're willing to abduct you, what else are they willing to do,
Do you like to collect vinyl toys?
Oh yeah, I love collecting vinyl toys. I'm a big fan of this guy that makes toys named Cause. I don't like all of his stuff, but I like a lot of it. And the most of the stuff I like is either really old, so it's really difficult to find. And I'm sure, as you know, it was like a toy from the 60s. They were given to children, and children generally destroy their toys. So a lot of them, like with Mark's toys and stuff like that, they're really hard to find in good condition or in any condition. So I love all that kind of stuff. And I also love toys that you're not necessarily going to find on Amazon or at Toys R Us or something like that. They're super highly collectible, hyper limited, really cool, and maybe aren't designed for children. They're mostly designed for, I think, as little tiny pieces of art. And in a lot of ways, they're an introduction for people to start collecting art because they're cheap enough that anyone can afford it. and they're a lot cheaper than buying like a $5,000 painting to start with. But this might get you interested in all those. I think that kind of stuff is really important, personally.
I think you're awesome. Can I tell people you're my uncle?
Sure, why not? Seems good to me. I have some nieces and nephews. They don't mind. And one more won't hurt.
How do you stay honest and successful in the music industry as it changes over the year?
Well, I mean, it's difficult to how do you measure success? It's a difficult question. I mean, I've never found dishonesty to be particularly useful, although I rarely tell anyone the truth about what I do. But there's really not a whole lot to it. I mean, it's not like a bunch of hidden secrets or dealing drugs or anything like that, or slavery. None of those things are happening. I lead a relatively basic life, but I almost never let people in. Like I never let people take pictures of what my house looks like or anything like that. Never. I'm far too private for that kind of thing. I mean, I honestly believe in being classically liberal, which means that I have no interest in telling other people what to do. I don't like getting told what to do. I think that as long as you're living a life that's not bothering anyone else, I don't care what you're doing. And I think that that's true liberty and freedom. I think that that's a good idea. But beyond that, I rarely make any social commentary questions or answers or comments in the press, because I honestly believe that people should look to higher sources than entertainers for their political beliefs. Believe it or not.
Okay. Where do you think you'll be right now if you weren't playing music?
Well, I never had a good job prior to this. To me, success as far as this is concerned, like going back to the last question, is based in the fact that I'm not really a 9-to-5 guy, and I haven't had a regular job where I would clock in and out to do some kind of horrific task since about 1988, 89. So I consider that a success as far as that's concerned, and I have no one underwriting what I'm doing, meaning I don't have a trust fund or what do they say, the big fat daddy at home writing checks. I don't have any of that. I never did. The big joke at my house is I asked my mom, I'm 50 years old now. I'm guessing that secret trust fund that you guys set up for me is not going to kick in anytime soon, right? And then she says, I was about to ask you for money. Until we jumped off that cliff, though, nothing would work. You have to go out and make that kind of thing happen, and it's not easy to make money playing music. It's hard to do. Most people, you walk into a big guitar store or somewhere like that, and you see all these people playing and buying instruments and stuff like that. Most of those will just go back to their house for their own enjoyment. It's difficult to make that kind of thing work. And I think you have to be realistic about it as far as that's concerned. I think the work on your craft as much as possible. Try to do something that nobody else has done, and be as peculiar as you can. All those things will work. Being peculiar is the best thing. Stand out. As much as you can, whatever, in whatever way that is.
Horror movies or comedy movies?
Horror movies. I'm not a big comedy guy. Sometimes a comedy will work, but see, I find movies like you probably haven't seen it, but this movie Happiness, I think that movie's really funny. It's totally terrifying, but I thought it was hilarious. I'm the one that'll laugh through horror movies. It's hilarious. They all died.
Pizza or tacos?
Tacos. Definitely.
Same here.
Yeah.
I'm a big Mexican.
Oh yeah. I live in LA, so
movie.
there's tons of great Mexican food there. Really good. Yeah. It's one of the best things about it.
Superman or Miles Davis?
Oh, Miles Davis. Miles Davis, of course. Why? Why do you think? I'll tell you why. Because Miles Davis said if he had 5 minutes to live, he'd strangle him a white man. Superman never said that.
Flowers or rain?
Oh, flowers. Definitely. I hate rain. I grew up in the rain. I hate it. I love living in LA where there's no rain. You know, it's great. It's amazing. Everybody always goes, I would miss the season, changing of the seasons. And I always just think, I never say it, but I always think, you're just an idiot.
America or Mars?
Well, I like it here. I've been all over the world. Never been to Mars, but, you know, it's a long ways. First off, no one's ever been there as far as I know. Certainly no one's ever came back, you know, if they did go there. But, I mean, I like it here. I've traveled all over the world. There's nowhere else I'd rather live. You know, it's not perfect, but nowhere. It's more perfect than anywhere I've been. You know, I prefer it here. We're a young country. We're very progressive. And we're unlike any other country. And I think that we're doing well under the circumstances.
Ozzy Osbourne or the president?
That's a tough one. What's the difference? That's a match made in hell. You know?
King Diamond or Gene Simmons?
Well, you know, I never met King Diamond, but I like a lot of that stuff. What I always liked about you're wearing a King Diamond shirt off camera. You know? What I always liked about King Diamond was that he came out dressed up like the Hamburglar. I always thought that was really funny. But
I'm not gonna be able to keep this straight.
I guess Gene Simmons. You know, I guess he's always been nice to me. You know, I don't like all the stuff he's done, but you know, he's certainly genuine in his beliefs. I like some of that stuff. You know, so
It'll be hard for me to pick between the two of them.
yeah,
I'm
they're
big
both
fans
funny.
of them.
Big Kiss fan.
Oh, yeah, well, yeah, of course. Because they have a lot of good songs. And they're fun. They're funny and fun, you know?
True or false? You had fun during this interview.
Oh, yeah. I love it. You're a lot better than most people I've done interviews with. So you really tried. You know, as opposed to lots of interviews where I realize that someone has absolutely no idea what I'm talking about or no idea who our band is. I've done them all. You know? I never refuse interviews. I always like to do them. I think stuff like this and people like you have never abandoned us, you know, and I appreciate that. And I'm more than willing to talk with someone about what I do if they're interested at all. And I think it's great. It's the least I can do. Actually, the least I can do is nothing. So this is more than that.
Thank you so much for this great interview, and also thank you so much for making music for all these years.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Hope this goes far for you. This is really cool. Thank you. I'm glad you guys asked me to do it.
I say that all the time. That's why he's looking at me.
You wouldn't miss it. You would not miss it, believe me.
That's what I say.
No, if you don't have to wear your coat for 52 weeks a year, you think you're going to miss that? No, I don't even know where my coat is. I can golf 52 weeks a year in LA. It's amazing.